Hello, everyone. Today we're discussing Israel and Iran, and I'm really getting tired of the JewAnon stuff, where people have this unhinged, unhealthy, anti-Semitic, anti-Jew view of the world, and you should call these people JewAnon every single time that they say Jews control just about anything, because they are one of the smallest population count religions in the world, and they don't control basically any of the stuff that these people are claiming that they do. But as far as a news update, the Iranians launched mid-range ballistic missiles, MRBMs, at Israel, striking Tel Aviv, and people are having different reactions to it. I'm going to show you a bit of both sides, but as I am new on this, I'm doing this in my spare time. I work a 40-hour-a-week job. I then work an additional 10 to 20 hours a week on side businesses for people that hired me. This is a short, I only get time to record these for 20 to 30 minutes in a day. I'm trying to get it recorded. That means there's no thumbnail because I don't have the money to do thumbnail stuff or the time to do it either. I've wanted to make these videos for months and months and months, but haven't had the time. So forgive me for not having thumbnails, but it would also be a huge help if you would share this, like the video, subscribe, all the normal stuff that people ask you to do. I don't like to do it, but I would really appreciate the help, as, you know, I am trying to be a fair, impartial person on a lot of things. So with that, let's get into it. So we're going to start with this. Right now, we are looking at just Twitter/X posts to show you the derangement of JewAnon people. So there is this guy, Carmine Sabia. I've never heard of him. I've never seen him. But he says, if you do not know which side to pick, consider this. Israel hit military sites in Iran. Iran hit civilians in Tel Aviv. It is good versus evil. There is no gray area. Now, this is a very, very just flat out, straightforward, nothing he said is wrong. There's a question of whether the hit from Iran missed its target, which is plausible, but given the videos I've seen on how many missiles got launched at them, I'm going to go with, no, this was just Iran striking the populace of Israel. The initial mid-range ballistic missile that I saw struck near the Israeli Defense Forces headquarters. So with that, it is plausible that it was supposed to hit the headquarters but missed, striking a civilian target instead. Meanwhile, we looked at the videos last night, and we are seeing very accurate strikes from Israel into Iran. So either Iran is using weapons that are not accurate enough to strike into a civilian-populated area, or they are targeting civilian population. That is a debate. We cannot assume they were targeting civilians based on what I have seen. I would lean towards they probably were, but we'll get to the video that has me on that fence here in just a little bit. But let's go down into the comments. Hey, look, we've got our first JewAnon guy. Now do Gaza. Do Gaza. Good, evil, no gray, huh? Well, let me do Gaza, since he doesn't have to do that. Gaza is filled with a terrorist organization that strikes civilian populations. They do not aim for military targets. They aim for civilian targets every single time. On top of that, Israel drops pamphlets. Israel tries to get civilians away from the targets, and they then strike those military targets to the best of their abilities. If you are in Gaza, you are being forced to stay in a dangerous location most of the time by those terrorist organizations that the civilians of those areas have elected themselves. They elected them. Now those organizations say, no, you get to be our fodder. It is a Geneva Convention, by the way, to not be able to put military equipment in civilian locations for this exact reason. But no one will call out Gaza for that. But Carmine says Gaza, where the people cheered the slaughter of innocent men, women, and children. Where they hide Hamas terrorists? That Gaza? Yes, exactly. That is my point. So we've got our first JewAnon here. I'm hoping that y'all can help me spread this tag on them. They are the JewAnon crowd. Everything is bad by Jews. Jews can never be trusted. Jews can they control America, even though we literally have told them, hey, don't do this. We're pulling our people back. We're not endorsing this. We are selling weapons to them, from what I can tell, because we've sold weapons to them forever, but we have not joined them in their strikes. We have not done any of this. And our government was telling them, hey, don't do anything, please. They did attack, despite us asking them not to. But if Jews were in control of America, why would America be saying, no, don't do this, we're trying to have negotiations? I'm pretty sure these strikes happened partially because they did not like the negotiations. So, let's see what this video looks like. So here comes that missile, boom. So that's the mid-range ballistic missile coming in right there. But this is why I'm saying that it doesn't necessarily seem like it's actually targeting military points. It hits 2 center of the city locations in both of these mid-range ballistic missiles. I don't know what one of them is striking at. I've only heard that the one struck near the Israeli Defense Forces headquarters. But that means there's a second one that struck in the middle of Tel Aviv that does not have a potential military target. Which, if that's true, makes it where Iran is doing the normal terrorist activity and attacking civilians. That's the difference between a war and a terrorist campaign. Are you targeting military targets or are you targeting civilians? If news comes out on what that second missile was targeting and it was military, okay, we've now put another piece on the scale towards it's war, not terrorism. So that's that one as well. Let's check the comments real quick and see if we have any JewAnons. I have not looked at the comments underneath these. Oh, look. Maybe he's not JewAnon, but he's an absolute moron. Israel has the weakest military in the Middle East. They literally defeated 3 surrounding countries at once. This is objectively false. So either the Iron Dome is not working or it's not being implemented on purpose. Which is it? It was attempting to do work. Look at all these points up here. These are parts of the Iron Dome. It's an issue with mid-range ballistic missiles are larger than the normal missiles that are coming through. I'm not exactly sure what the Iron Dome is supposed to be able to handle, but I would not be surprised if that's the reason why these got through, because they're just big ballistic missiles. Oh, look, there's one. My day got a little brighter. Screw Israel. Yeah, you seem like a totally well-adjusted individual. Let's see here. Pronouns, Your Majesty, Your Highness. From New York. Israel started this awful war. No, they didn't. My opinion, like I said in the video yesterday, October 7th is when it started. That's my opinion. I think that any of these groups that can be tied to these Hamas-type groups that are attacking Tel Aviv/Israel, it's gonna all be joined into one thing in this what's gonna end up being called a war. in the history books. It's all going to be seen as one thing, and it's all going to tie together, and it's all going to start on October 7th, exactly like how the Civil War got tied back to Fort Sumter, being the first battle, even though it was not considered the start of any war at the time. So, yeah. Some people, bless your little anti-Semitic heart, every time they retaliate, there's always you losers crying genocide. Yes, that is another. That is something I mentioned yesterday. If Israel put down its weapons, there would be no Jews left. Iran has said that they wanted nukes so that they could wipe Israel off the face of the earth multiple times. And so, I'm actually very happy to see that there's so many people telling this person he's an idiot, because he is an idiot. I expected more JewAnons to be in here saying, yeah, you're right, but this is the video that has it where I believe they are targeting civilians. So there's that. And then I'm seeing how long it takes to find a JewAnon in every single one of these. The last couple are JewAnon posts that were just on the main page. So, it is what it is. Palestinian was overexcited in Tel Aviv. Forgot that he's in a road. That thud. That thud is priceless. It's like out of a cartoon. But this is the joy that these people have. These disgusting people think it's wonderful for civilians to be getting struck with ballistic missiles. They'll cry how wrong it is that the Jews were damaging sites that had military equipment, aka forts, or not forts, bunkers, or missile launching stations, or weapons depots, whatever military infrastructure is being targeted by the state of Israel. These people will say how wrong it is and how it's wrong to be striking civilian targets, but they keep putting all their military stuff in civilian targets. Oh, but there's not a lot of space there. Yeah, you're not supposed to be trying to do a war against your neighbor like that for 60 years. By the way, he was prancing around. I expect that isn't the first thing that ever smashed him in the butt. That's hilarious. Also, a quick reminder, it's very common in Arabic regions that rape of young boys is just considered a normal thing, and you have no rights to not be raped in their cultures. Just a quick reminder of that. Everyone's losing their humanity in these wars. She's right. There's a lot of loss of the humanity of it all. I personally think that only the people who are wanting to target civilians should be killed in this. That's my dream. That all the Iranian civilians are left alone. That any Palestinians who do not want the Israelis killed are left alone. That they are all kept safe by the grace of God above. But unfortunately, there will be casualties of civilians on so many sides. The question is if it is intentional or if it is collateral damage. If it's collateral damage, that's just the unfortunate part of war. If it is intentional, that is absolutely wrong on every single level. Fate, as it seems, is not without a sense of irony. Oh man, this one actually doesn't have any JewAnon. I'm amazed. Oh, no, there's one. There's one. Poor Ian, it's sad. Tel Aviv burning. Gosek, Israel's D. Yeah, that's... So we made it about less than 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in. 8 in on that one. That's the longest we've gone in on one so far. So, yeah, another JewAnon. They are everywhere. They are anti-Semitic, and you need to call them out for it. You need to call them JewAnon. Start using the hashtag. Join me in this, please, because we need to shame and disgrace and tag these people the same way they tried to tag QAnon. So now there's going to have 3 categories. There's going to be QAnon for the people that are crazy on that part. There's going to be BlueAnon for the people that believe every single thing about Democrat talking points. And then there's going to be JewAnon, the people who think Jews control the world and are basically a shadow government in every area, but are still the smallest religion on earth. And they are constantly being fought in war. So this is a close-up of that ballistic missile striking. Looked like it struck within a block of this apartment. Yeah, looks like it might have even hit the bottom of this apartment structure. It's really close. But, I mean, this doctor, whatever, philosopher, doctor of medicine, MD, opinions are my own. Follow my main at Dr. Lupus. I don't want to follow Dr. Lupus because I don't want no lupus. Anyways, they are saying how the people of Tel Aviv are finding out what it's like living in Gaza. Well, no, actually wrong. Because if they were actually getting the exact same treatment as the people in Gaza, there would have been a bunch of pamphlets dropped beforehand saying, hey, we're striking this area for military targets. Please clear the area so that we can reduce civilian casualties. So, nice try, Lupus, but you might want to take some of that brain stuff that's constantly using Joe Rogan in its ads because they can do it with AI now. Anyways, moving on. Next is... Oh, I meant to put this one before that one, because this one's still a normal person post. So this one says they switched from we can't get involved in another foreign war to bomb Tel Aviv in record time. But at least they're anti-war. Because the left, for a long, long time, since the Middle East war with Iraq and Afghanistan, quote-unquote, the left was anti-war. There were protests against Bush. There were protests against the war in the Middle East. There were protests about how war is wrong, war is wrong, war is wrong. Now, Charlie Kirk had posted something saying, hey, should we get involved in Israel's war? My personal opinion, we can sell weapons to them. Because if, like I said yesterday, my difference between Ukraine and Israel is that Israel, no one will be left alive. They will be raped, they will be beat, they will be starved, they will be absolutely mercilessly tortured, and then they will be killed and dumped into mass graves. It will be another Holocaust. Ukraine, some people may be killed. I don't support that. I think it's still wrong. But only a few people would probably be killed by Russians for what they did in war. But in all honesty, I don't even think that would happen. I think Russians would be upset, but a part of the peace treaty would be, hey, well, let's not punish our soldiers, just like your soldiers shouldn't be punished, because a soldier is a grunt. They have nothing to do with anything. They are conscripted, or they are put in there by someone with a higher pay scale than them. So, no. Soldiers should never be punished like that, unless they, like, mowed down unarmed civilians and stuff like that, you know? That type of war crime, that should be punished. But it should be punished at the UN level, you know, internationally, not by the opposing force. That's the difference. Anyways, this martyr-made guy, no idea who he is, says, yes, we should commence airstrikes on Tel Aviv immediately. Wants to literally attack an allied country that is actually in an alliance with us and has been fighting against genocide for decades. These people, I will not be able to say every single point on all of my thoughts on every single content. I will not be able to say all my thoughts on every topic in every context in a single video, because there's so many nuances and so many key points. I will be able to give major overarching things, but I will not be able to give very specifics that can be applied to every single spot. You can maybe get that idea over time of he probably stands around here on it, but, you know, it's whatever. So let's see how long it takes to find a JewAnon in this comment section. First comment, call them Nazis to their faces. They're with Israel. Well, right now I see an attacker and someone who responded who is pro-war. Found the JewAnon. Scott Borer. Just an ordinary retired military member. Well, you know, Scott Borer, Iran is funding terrorists who are striking civilian targets. And they decided, hey, we're just going to strike that person's nuclear infrastructure so that they can stop refining, nuclear material, and hopefully can be slowed down and or pushed away from a bomb. Meanwhile, they also struck a couple of key military individuals. This is not... I mean, I think that Netanyahu is getting very war hawk. I don't want that. But you can't act like there's no reason for them to have struck Iran with all this going on. If we're going to be involved, it should be against the ones causing problems. We shouldn't be involved, but if we are, it should be against Israel. Found another JewAnon. Stranded VTuber. I wonder if that's because you're insane. Born to VTube. Forced to rural. I stream once in a blue moon. Yeah, you're about what I would expect. Don't lump me in with that retarded bull. I said what I said, and I meant it. This is an Iran-Israel issue. No need for USA to get involved. Personally, like I said yesterday, Israel, go handle stuff the way you need to handle stuff. We'll sell you weapons because you're an ally, and if you fail, your entire civilian population will be killed in the streets. Oh, look, we got another JewAnon. Randy Leahy. Without Israel, there is no war. Get rid of Israel. There is no war. No. Without Israel, there's no Jews from Israel. Oh, look, someone that can actually very, very easily reverse it. Without terrorists in Iran, there is no war. Without Hamas and their Palestinian families birthing the next jihadis, there is no war. They'll be laid to waste, and Israel does not need America to do it or our permission. That's a simple flip. I mean, Israel has agreed to peace treaties multiple times, like I said yesterday. But every single time, it is the Muslim side that breaks it and attacks them. Every single time. So, yeah. That's that. Next up, we have a concert in Spain. You guys remember when alternative rock was more against war and against the industrial complex? The military-industrial complex was the critique that happened in a bunch of old rock songs. All of American Idiot was anti-Middle East war. Like, all over and over and over and over again. Rock is an anti-war thing. Occasionally, you'll find someone that makes a song in support of what they believe is a justified war. Imagine a song during World War II that was basically like, yeah, the Nazis are bad, and we need to stop the Nazis. Okay. But the cultish mentality of these individuals, these kids, this cultish mentality of anti-Jewishness is insane. I found out through genetic testing that I'm 5% Jew. Because I had an ancestor in Austria who escaped back in late 1920s, I believe it was. So just a little bit before it would have become genocidal for them to be in Austria. So they were Orthodox Jew. and they came to America, and they were orphans, and they got adopted, and all that fun stuff. But here's the key. There's a terrifying part of this. So people are saying how the anxiety is rising for illegal immigrants in the United States because they might get caught for being illegal immigrants. Okay. I personally think you broke the law. If you broke the law, you should have anxiety. This insane anti-Semitic genocidal drive to kill Jews is going to give a huge part of the Jewish population an insane amount of anxiety because they're not safe just because they're a Jew. They have people wanting to kill Jews. Like I said yesterday, again, if you are any percent Jewish to the people in Hamas, they want you dead. Every drop of Jewish blood is supposed to be spilled in the end times by the Islamic states and followers. That doesn't change. And like I said, not every Muslim is going to believe that. Some Muslims are going to be like, no, that's crazy. We should follow the other teachings of the Quran and leave those more heathenistic ones behind. But that's a low percentage. It's not even 50% that I think have that viewpoint. Maybe I'm wrong, but so far, using my eyes, it's well above 50%. And then you're having Spain. Spain, this is unacceptable behavior. It just is. All right, so let's just look at another one real quick. This one has Manny Quinn and the Mighty Hornets saying, if Tel Aviv gets flattened tonight, the world will be like a Lionel Richie video all night long, just dancing all night long. How unhinged. How about we just flatten Gaza? Oh, that would probably be a problem. Yeah, because there's civilians there. Flattening civilian targets with the intention of flattening them is never acceptable or justifiable. It never is. Like, it's just not acceptable. But these people, these JewAnon crazies, want to they want to see just straight up murder of innocent Jews that have no part of it. And I know exactly why they say it. They say, hey, they're colonizers. They're taking land that's not theirs. That's how, firstly, the land, they didn't take most of, some of the land was given to them by Britain. Some of the land they took through 3 different wars that were fought against them that they won fairly. Okay? This is, you can't justify the killing of civilians. The other part is that they'll say, oh, well, every single civilian has to join the Israeli Defense Force. Well, you're right. And the reason that every single civilian has to join is because of this. It's all because of the fact that these guys of Hamas or Iran or whatever other terrorist organizations attack Israel. That is why. Look at all these. Yeah, if this is what was happening, yeah, Iran is just targeting civilians. It's not targeting military installations. I've officially swung all the way to the one side. But also, Iran was not targeted in a whatever capacity, a broad capacity. Their nuclear sites were struck, and a couple of people were struck from their Revolutionary Guard. This is a full-on bombardment of a civilian city. There's a vast difference in this. There's a lot of gray in war This is not gray. This is black. This is evil to target with this many missiles civilian targets in a civilian city. Absolutely unacceptable. If this is attacking something just outside the city, then that'll be changed, but it looks like they're targeting the city. Oh my gosh. Oh look, we got another Yemen military Twitter account. Another JewAnon, basically. And they're saying that they're learning their lesson. It's not. Like, of course, it's going to be a... Okay, so this is kind of stupid. Direct hit on TelAviv? Well, yeah, it's a city that's giant. Of course it is. Of course it's a direct hit. It's a giant target. There's just a lot of disgusting behavior. I'm seeing over and over JewAnons talking about how they want TelAviv to be struck from the earth. And it's... People on Twitter be like, yes, we hate Israel. Yes, we want to ethnically cleanse TelAviv. Yes, we want Yahud out of the Middle East. Now listen to us explain why Israel bombing Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities is too far. Thank you. That summed it up perfectly. Thank you, Drew. And you're an Aussie? I mean, you still have the Ukrainian flag, but hey. That's a good way of summing up what I've been saying for the last 30 minutes. So with that, I think I'm going to leave it there. So guys, I know this is a long one. Go ahead and share that with your friends. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe. Help me out a lot. And, well, I want to cover some video game news, but it's really difficult to do it when all the news that I'm seeing is related to the Middle East. It's a lot like the week after the Pope died. I saw almost no news outside of, oh, who could the next Pope be? So it was hard to find stuff, but I mean, the Switch 2s barely had any news pop up in my news feed due to all the stuff that's going on. So, yep. With that, I hope you guys take care of yourselves. I hope you guys are... I mean, you guys know what makes these people cheer, so their boos mean nothing. Remember that. Well, have a nice one. I hope everyone has a nice weekend, and I will talk to you guys later.